In meditation, the soul communes beyond all dogmas and conventions directly with its home, the upper world. It calls in there regularly and communicates thoroughly, naturally, beyond the limits of time and space with other immortal souls. Just as Jesus, in a transfigured state, talked to Moses and Elias. It is precisely the generally accepted religiousness that is unnecessary. The facts of conscious communion with the abode of light are needed. According to Agni Yoga, meditation is no introspection, no fixing the tip of the nose, and no search for nirvana, but, above all, a conversation. True prayer is communion with the infinite. You should, however, not aim too high and immediately think of a conversation with an archangel or even with God. Such supreme beings have more important things to do than to take personally care just of you. But a conversation with your link to hierarchy, your teacher, your spiritual father, with whom there is a millennia-old connection, this will be a natural concept. The pure, innocent child within you turns confidently to his Father in heaven. It is comforting to know that you can expect response from there. A call of love will bring response from the beloved. Can one cite an example when the quest of a pure consciousness was not answered? However, the answer depends largely upon the quality, that is, the purity and strength of your invocation. As you call, so shall the call be answered. According to the law of correspondence, a response must be given if the seeking one implores it selflessly. If, from the higher point of renunciation, the soul, while in a perfect state of relaxation, sends forth a prayer to the infinite, not for some personal favor, but of faith, of love for that infinite, the same law which compels one pole of electricity to respond to the other will compel a response from those infinite domains. And the response will be in accordance with the real needs of the aspiring soul. Not unlike the earthly, the otherworldly powers as well react with more certainty the more urgently they are invoked. In case of an appeal to the hierarchy of light, the significance is in the call of the prayer. One should remember that even earthly forces do not respond unless addressed. Verily, it would be easier for the beings of other worlds to pierce through the stifling atmosphere of earth if toward them were coming appeals from earthly incarnates. Just try it. You will see that Agni Yoga is not promising too much. All of us may, like the saints, talk to the higher powers, invoke them adoringly, and when all else is silent, hear their voice in our hearts. The language of the heart is the breath of the Supreme. Hearken to the voice of eternity, which leads to bliss and light. A receptive heart really converses with the higher spheres. One of the most beautiful paragraphs of Agni Yoga runs, "Sometimes let your heart converse with the higher world. This conversation can be held in various languages. It could be that the heart will gather together memories of ours from many lives. Or perhaps the conversation will be a silent one, without instructions or advice, only elevating and strengthening the ascent. And there may be the silence of gratitude, or the silence of the power of readiness. The flame of the heart flares forth in striving to unite with the highest world." Concretely, you should contact especially your spiritual father, your teacher. Let the heart accustom itself to conversing with the teacher. Like the wise ones of old, let the heart know only communion with the Master, so that nothing trivial may intrude while the heart is talking with the highest. The conversation with the teacher should be guarded as a treasure. Without a living exchange, there can be no question of a teacher-disciple relationship. How could anyone possibly be your teacher to whom you have no contact? No dogma can forbid conversing with the highest. The more beautifully this is done, the nearer he will be. You may start by creating your own spiritual reality, by actually visiting the teacher in spirit in his ashram, stepping forward to his presence, and by speaking to him. Command your heart to come as close as possible to the teacher. If you have to affirm the teacher in words, begin to converse with him as if he were right beside you. This is far more than just illusion. In the supermundane world, everything is created by your thoughts. So that what you imagine becomes a reality there. Hours of happiness. Thus we call that step in the development of consciousness when, without turning away from life, our co-workers are given the opportunity to join us in our abode. It is one of the most important signs of the progress on the path that this spiritual conversation with the non-incarnated teacher becomes more and more a living reality. The teacher watches the progress of the yogi. The sign of his progress will be the ability to hear the voice of the invisible teacher. The teacher actually answers all your questions if you just learn to listen to your inner voice and then carry out what he says. If you do not implement the advice transmitted, you corrupt the higher connection. Many who have never made a practice of listening to or obeying that inner voice frequently exclaim, "I would do right if I only knew how. I cannot develop myself without assistance." Within the heart of every normal human being lies hidden the door that leads to the temple gates. He who will knock at that door by earnest desire and walk into the silence and listen will hear the answer to his every question, so far as that question relates to the soul's immediate need. Do not expect just words, however. The answer may also consist of the most various signs of life. You should not expect that the teacher's reply only comes in the form of ordinary words. The answer may appear in a multitude of signs, some of them obvious, some of them far away. The difficulty is, first, to identify these signs and then to accurately evaluate them. An appeal to the Brotherhood does not remain without response, but there are many ways of answering. Everyone has had opportunity many times to convince himself that the response of the Brotherhood has come in signs which are outwardly very insignificant. It can be boldly affirmed that a great majority of indications either glide over the consciousness or are incorrectly interpreted. May the heart exchange of your immortal being with its peers, with your soulmates in the higher world, be the noblest expression of your existence. Do not lose direct communion with us. Let it be the highest expression of your being. Do not permit such a communion to become a formal performance of a duty. As a shining example of Agni Yoga meditation stands before us Helena Röhrig. She managed to so far develop and refine her inner senses, to open her spiritual centers so wide that she was able, in hour-long spiritual conversations with her non-incarnated teacher, to receive and to write down the thousands of pages of the books of the teaching. If we set out for this path, we too will one day acquire this wonderful ability.